Dark night, an abandoned hospital room, eerie silence. Suddenly, a ghostly nurse appears chubby, haunting, and mysterious. Stay tuned to uncover her chilling story. It was about 30 years ago when I was a student working as a security guard in London. I've had quite a few strange experiences, but this one was by far the most fascinating. It took place on a hot summer Saturday morning. By then, I had been promoted to an area inspector, responsible for overseeing multiple teams across London. I was speaking on the radio with a colleague, and we decided to meet up for a coffee. One of my sites that I was supposed to check was the South London Women's Hospital in Tooting. We agreed to meet there. The hospital had been closed for several years, had fallen into squatters' hands, and was now guarded by a team of 3 security guards and a visiting dog unit to cover the large area. Like many old hospitals, it consisted of an original smaller building which had been expanded with long corridors and additional structures. Let me describe the layout briefly, as it's relevant to what happened. After entering through the large wooden double doors, there was another set of double doors leading into a short hallway. To the left was the reception area, and to the right were some ward doors. Straight ahead led to the back of the building and the newer sections with access to the gardens. On the left side, there was a corridor with the main entrance to the reception, a large lift, and 2 waiting or day room zone at the end of the corridor. To the right, there were windows overlooking an overgrown quadrangle. The space was bright and open. At the end of the corridor, there were 2 glazed double doors that led to an oak staircase, which only went up to the first floor. This staircase was a notable design feature and historically significant. It connected to a small section consisting of a short corridor with fire exit doors at the end. On both sides of this corridor, there were 2 small rooms, well lit, which were probably private rooms. They were empty. My colleague S and I met at the front with our small vans parked in the limited drop-off area. We went inside, peeked into the reception room where the guards were, and offered to do a patrol if they turned on the kettle. Everything was fine. The kettle was turned on. Just as we were about to start our patrol, both of us saw a woman walk out of the far room on the left, near the double doors, heading toward the staircase. We immediately ran after her, calling out, "Excuse me, ma'am, you are not allowed here." "Yes, I know," we were very polite. We repeated ourselves, and I mentioned to S that we had an intruder. The woman kept walking away from us through the double glass doors we reached, and then up the staircase. I got a brief side and front view of her. Then she suddenly vanished, disappeared into thin air. We reached the top of the staircase. I told S I'd stand at the top because it was the only way out, and he was much taller than me. He returned a few minutes later, saying there was no one there. I asked him to stand at the top, and I looked. Nothing. We shrugged and started checking the rooms, inspecting the windows, and noticed the fire door was locked and further secured with a padlock and chain. Our conclusion was that we had seen an intruder, but she was no longer on the premises. I personally wrote a description of her in the duty logbook while we sipped our coffee. Years later, when I reflected on the event, I realized without a doubt that we had seen a ghost. This is where critics and psychologists often get it wrong. Our minds made the event seem completely normal. The fact that she vanished before our eyes was dismissed because we rationalized that she had gone up the stairs and out of sight. Impossible. In reality, here's the detail. The woman was dressed in blue. She was holding a file or clipboard against her left arm. We could hear her footsteps on the wooden floor. I believe she opened or pushed one of the double doors to go through, but I can't be certain. My mind, as it often does, rationalized that she couldn't walk through a closed door. I remember clearly that I couldn't make out her facial features at all, which was strange because I should have been able to. There was no other way out, and we had the place secured. Was she a ghost? Yes, definitely a nurse, perhaps. Now, the hospital has been turned into a Tesco store. I believe they couldn't save many of its beautiful architectural features, as English Heritage refused to list them. On a personal note, I've met several people who only later realized they had a ghostly encounter, some more obvious than others, I suppose.